All right. Okay, I'm recording episode 41, Spectator Mode with the FUD podcast, episode 10. Their episode 10. This is the podcast within a podcast. New format we're doing, we're launching. FUD is the guinea pigs, as we can gently put it, in this format. So if it fails miserably, it's both our fault. But pretty much that's what I'm going to be doing going forward is I'm going to be showcasing podcasts from the around the Halo community. Celebrating them essentially. I mean, I've done my podcasting, and now I'm more interested in seeing what's going on there with other podcasts, and what better way than to bring their podcasts into my podcast. I'm just rolling with it. Let's see what this works. Let's see if this goes. We have Forward Unto Dawn, the FUDcast with Postmortem.
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah. And Danny, live. He's been on a guest before on The Running Riot.
Hello.
And before I let you guys take the wheel and the warthog, nice pun. The one thing I want to say, or two things I want to say, I listened to the last FUDcast, episode 9, and two things that I really liked were the space mop and there's very, 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 very good detail about that, and Jeff Steitzer's mumbling, his idea of him being on the Infinity. Give him some kind of cameo. Oh my God, that's genius. Genius.
I was still happy that he made it into the game, into the campaign in one way or another, though.
Yeah, he does have a cameo proper in the game, like as the announcer over the radio.
Right.
A couple different unique lines, which is kind of awesome.
But the mumbling definitely would have been better.
That would have been better. That's some kind of thing of him just the whole scenario of just saying like, oh, they got like, he just can't stop saying Slayer. And you know what I mean, in the multiplayer now, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the multiplayer now it is Steitzer again, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. How much obviously it's all repeating stuff, but they got him saying a hell of a lot more than I think they ever did with Bungie
and getting really into it.
Yeah, he's charged. He's like, I gotta.
They changed the voice direction a little bit. They wanted him to come across slightly differently than the past games. It's more of a stylistic sort of choice they wanted, and went ahead with.
Right.
My favorite is the flood.
Right. Yeah, he's. I would love to have him as a guest. I would try to come up with all kinds of stuff I'd have him say that were not Halo related, and just see how we would say it.
Have you tried to get a hold of him?
Yeah, I kind of tried. Kind of. I didn't put a ton of effort, because he did like one interview with somebody community related, or like on our scale,
And never again.
And yeah, he kind of, he did it, and it was like a little audio into it, but that was it. I mean, there was some video a while back, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here because I'm going to get you guys started, but there was a video of him kind of, because he's isn't he like a Broadway actor? He's got, that's his background, I think, and he, I don't know, caught on video somewhere where he was just like, I've done all these other things, but all I'm really known for is Slayer. Like, he was almost kind of like shit. He's like, oh. So I don't, I don't.
It's not a bad thing to be known for.
No, it's not. That's the thing. It's but he's older, I mean, he might not, maybe he's finally realizing, but all right.
Sounds like a typical actor. Oh, I don't want to be known for this very, very famous role. It's got me really famous and make me lots of money. No. How dare people know me for this?
I know, right? that's but that was I think some little YouTube snippet. I have to search that up one day. But anyway, let's get you guys started. I've been trying to think of a way to say, take it away, boys, but I'm not going to. I already just said that. It's cheesy as hell.
We'll be confusing listeners anyway because you're a guest on our podcast. So we start our podcast and just you and ourselves as well. So it's going to be weird.
Well, I could just simply say, my podcast is ending. Yours is stop. I don't know. Take it away. It's you. It's all you.
All right. So behind the scenes, you see all the raw, unedited. I feel sorry for whoever is listening to this.
Yeah. See my curses. See fuck, shit, fuck. No, not bleeped. See
the train going by, me coughing. That's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I have a throat thing as well, which normally we would be edited out and everything. So, yeah. Anyways, Isaac, you got your recording crap ready?
Yeah, it's already going.
This is like technical we are. Your crap's ready, yes. Your crap's ready. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'm all good to go.
Actually, I'll let you do the introduction too, because my throat is hammered.
I've been sick all week too, so.
Could you do like I throw a coin in the air or something? Because
I'm sure the smoking was really helping that out.
Oh yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being a smoker. It's like, well, you're sick. Why are you making yourself worse? Because I can't help it. Fuck.
All right, so the Forward and Dawn Sick podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
It's episode 10.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Forward Unto Dawn podcast. This episode we're going to be talking about Spartan Ops from its beginning all the way up to the mid-season hiatus. And we've got a lot of interesting thoughts to share with you. And on top of that, we have a special guest joining us today. This is Keith from the Running Riot.
Hello. Thank you.
And as usual, Danny. And unfortunately, Dave isn't here with us.
But we'll have him in our hearts and thoughts. So
and there's a possibility he might be joining later, and I don't know if that comment will be left in or edited out, but whatever.
It'll be edited out if he's not, so
there we go.
It's all good.
So, there's the... and I am Isaac, otherwise known as Postmortem. That part's important.
Technically, you didn't introduce me at all. You introduced him, you introduced yourself, and I'm left out here in the dark.
I said Danny.
Cold. Oh, don't worry.
You want me to redo it? I can redo it. Alright, so where do we go from there? Let me pull up the notes that I had written. Probably should have had them already, but... So, start with general impressions, I guess. Or expectations versus, final outcome.
Well, since you did the introduction, I'll let you share the episode. Just say something along the lines of going to Spartan Ops. Do a brief introduction of what it is, in case people are completely dead in the head. What is Spartan Ops? And basically just ask both for our general thoughts overall so far before diving into the granular, okay?
You want me to do that, or you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So for those who don't know, Spartan Ops is an episodic, story-driven experience, separate from the Halo campaign. Until recently, there was a new episode released every week. Each episode contained multiple chapters to play through, and a chapter was essentially one playable level with a story, a subplot attached to that. And before you dive into those chapters, you watch a pre-rendered cinematic that tells the larger story over the course of a season. So, as previously mentioned, we're at a mid-season hiatus right now, and then the second half of the season will be coming back later in January. And then, what else did you say?
Ask us for just general thoughts.
Okay. So there was a lot of news about Spartan Ops released. A lot of hype kind of built up before the launch of Halo 4, and I think everyone had a lot of time to kind of cement their own opinions of what it was going to be, what they thought about the idea behind this weekly content sort of thing. And I know that a lot of people's opinions have changed since it released, both positive, in the positive direction and the negative. But for Keith and Danny, what did you guys think? Like, what were your opinions before ever getting your hands onto Spartan Ops?
Before touching Spartan Ops, the episodic thought of that, of new content every week for, initially they just said every week. I don't think there was ever, like they said every week, and then they said it's going to be 10 weeks or 10 episodes or 10, what do they call each? What is each week called?
An episode.
An episode. At first they were just saying like every week, and I was like, that's a hell of a lot of content, and that much content, yeah, it got me initially excited, but I'm just like, there's got to be some redundancy in there. But I was definitely excited about more campaign related stuff or story fiction related stuff. But what exactly, when it first was announced, what exactly that was going to be, I was definitely knew that this was something new in video, in a major AAA title, I guess. And especially its delivery system too. So I was very excited.
I think I was expecting something else from what we got. To be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I was just going by what they were saying, listening to what they were prepared to tell us. It was weird because whenever they were showing off Halo 4, they showed off a very early build of Spartan Ops, and then they didn't show a lot more other than that for a long time. And I didn't really know why they did that, but I think I realize now that the reason why they didn't show much of Spartan Ops pre-release was because there wasn't that much to show off. If you know what I mean, they would have shown off the majority of the environments
right
pre-release, and I think they obviously they couldn't do that. So I think that was a warning sign that a lot of us should pay attention to and didn't before it came out.
Yeah, and I got to actually play it at PAX, and well, I guess that's more of a gameplay thing. So we'll go into that later. But my expectations were more along the lines of, I guess, kind of what Keith is saying, is that we're going to have new content every week, which to me, beforehand, I was still thinking, regardless of quality, it's still going to be awesome to have new Halo content every week.
Right.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with that, even if, regardless of the quality. When I found out, like, more specifically what it was, I honestly...
Regardless of the quality, no, I don't think it's fair to say regardless of the quality. Well, because if you have really crap quality stuff every week, you're doing harm
in the
to the
sense,
franchise
in the sense
overall.
that you have new content to discuss with the fans every week. It's more fuel for the fire. You know, again, whether good or bad, it's still something to keep people coming back and talking about it, and that's what I liked about the idea.
And that's what we're doing right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Case
So
in
we're going to
point.
talk about it. It is more content for us to pick apart.
For sure. And see, I thought that Spartan Ops was going to be. First of all, when they said that it was going to be every week, that surprised me again because of the amount of content that they'd have to put out. But that immediately made me think that, well, they have to, they were working on this content alongside the campaign and the multiplayer. It's already done now. So my initial thought was that it's pretty much going to be exactly like what we have now, with the difference that the quality of the levels and the story would start off really strong and then taper off as you got into the newer and newer content that they hadn't worked on pre-launch. And from what I could tell so far, it almost seems like it's doing the opposite. Like we got kind of a testing bed where they did very basic, level layout and stuff like that, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, after this hiatus, we're going to be getting some more elaborate, newer content.
I feel the same as far as it. Yeah, I thought it would be, the beginning, the initial part of it, it would be, oh, this is great, whatever even the format of it is, though it's like firefight. But it was still, then it would taper off, like it would get repetitive, but it actually seems to be building up. Not even just the story stuff. It just more of the gameplay actually seems to be. I mean, it's all still the same, press a button, move on, press a button, move on. Which is, I don't see what else we could really do beyond that.
Oh, are we talking about that now?
Well, okay, yeah, I don't want to.
Do we talk about that now, or do we talk about that?
Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about that at some point.
So. I'd say leave that to later because that's a whole big button of fish.
Okay, so yes, but I just do agree on the yes, it's going. It seems to be they start off slow and it's starting to escalate.
Yeah, I actually think from a design standpoint as well, that's a really good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you give people, at least looking at the gameplay, you give them more and more of a challenge every week. And so when you go back and play it all at once, it starts out really easily, and then that difficulty curve really ramps up a lot.
Like campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And like most good games should do with the difficulty.
Right.
I mean, that said, the infinite respawns, which I think we should talk about later,
kind
of takes away from that, but...
So are we happy with that sort of overall impressions from each other here, or?
Well, the what Postmortem put for us was what we thought before we even got a hold.
Yeah.
Our initial expectation before we got our hands on it.
Yeah, and I think Danny kind of covered both a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
And I mean, and then once I've gotten my hands on it, I don't know. I actually, I'm gonna, to be honest, I have played only the first 2 episodes full through, and then before this show, because I haven't played it all, I just watched the cutscenes.
The animated episode.
Yeah, the cut. Just
see, that's cheating. I struggled through playing through those damn things.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheating.
I tried. You did. I tried today to play through. I started playing through. I started on normal, and I was playing through episode 2, and because I did 1 early on or whatever, and then I started playing up 2, and I'm like, oh, all right. I dumbed it down to easy. I said, I got to get through this before tonight's show. And I got through episode 2, and time ran out on me, between kids and shopping and all this kind of stuff. And before the show, I just said, all right, I got to cutscene it and find out what's going on.
So you played the worst 2 episodes as far as gameplay goes, and then skipped the good ones.
Okay, so I will definitely be. I'll be. I don't more about being spoiled. It's okay. So, you know,
Yeah, well, you got the majority of the important aspects of the story anyway, so I
Right.
think that's what really matters as far as this discussion.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as story is concerned, because there's only one the major story cutscene in the beginning of each episode. You know, where they go, I get the cutscenes actually tell you what happened, you know, prior. That's actually maybe another interesting way to look at this. Like, you kind of figured out what you did through those missions, you know, even though you didn't play them.
Cutscenes tell you 99% of the actual story.
Right. I guess what I'm saying.
It's like if you want the story, just the cutscenes. There's little to be gained story wise from actually playing through the missions. That's kind of terrible.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the story is kind of meant to be in a short period of time. From just watching those cutscenes, it's like whatever. As far as the missions going down to Requiem. This seems to be a rapid fire. Just go down there, like, but this is all happening pretty quickly. You know, it's not like a drawn out 10-month missions into Requiem.
Really? Because I'm not really getting a good sense of time scale. Whenever
Yeah, I wish that we had a little bit more solid, you know, explanation of how long it takes place.
Right.
I feel like each episode takes place over a really short time period, but then in between each episode is kind of a indecipherable amount of time.
Yeah. True.
do we get no time indicators at all? Like, how long does a mission take? Was it a day, weeks? Like, how long has it been going? How long has Crimson been kicking ass? You know what I mean? Like, we've taken down like armies of Covenant and Prometheans at this point. Like, surely that must take some time to actually happen.
Yeah, if you look at the expanded fiction, like realistically, of course, that wouldn't happen in the time frame that you play it in. Which is, you know, that's one of the things Dave was actually talking about recently, not just for Spartan Ops, but for the Halo campaigns in general. Like, we know from the Flood how long the first game takes place and the general time frame of those missions, but after that, we really don't have any idea from like Halo 2 on, and Spartan Ops included.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a. I mean, as far as Spartan Ops is concerned, don't all we have is what the episodes. I mean, there's no other backstory.
There's the episodes, and then there's the. I still don't even know what to call it. We got Halsey's journal with Reach, and we got some clipboard thing with the limited edition, which gives kind of the background for Thorn, one of the main characters in Spartan Ops.
Yes.
But other than that, yeah, that's, as far as I know, pretty much it.
I guess that's enough.
So, do we want to start with the first episode and just kind of pick that apart? Or is there anything else that we should cover before diving into that?
I'm not sure we should go through it episodically. Ugh, you know, it's a bit much. And besides, Keith here hasn't gone through them all, so it's going to be, you know what I mean, he's going to be piggybacking it. That's not...
Yeah.
Well, don't let me hold you back as far if you want to discuss.
No. It's not that. It's that I want to have a proper discussion where all three of us can have some proper input. You know what I mean?
Well, listen. I mean, I got the gist as far as. I mean, if we're going to be talking about what.
Like story wise as well, that'd be fine. But I can't even remember specific missions gameplay wise. They just bleed into each other with banality. That's. Ugh.
Well, there's like a few key moments that I think are worth covering that definitely stand out to me, and I remember them.
I'll even definitely say that for the first two episodes, there's a couple of interesting little, you know, story elements that were like either they were good or just like, oh, you know, but But go ahead. Go, just go.
Well, I feel like it's, I guess, just before, if we're gonna do episode by episode or not. But there's a lot of really interesting gameplay things in Spartan Ops. Some real, intentionally designed encounters that, in some ways, are more unique than some of the encounters in the campaign.
Right.
Especially in the later episodes. So, I definitely want to touch on that. But if you don't think we should do episode by episode, Danny, then what do you think would be the best way to go about it?
Just chronologically, maybe, or like specifically stopping by every episode. If that makes sense.
All right.
If you want to do it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
So I think the first thing worth talking about is within the first episode, first cinematic, we get an introduction to the Spartan Fours. This is, I guess we got it in the campaign, but this is the real first glimpse into their behavior and their personalities. And I guess this falls more within the larger fiction, but since Spartan Ops is really all about the Spartan Fours and what they're doing on the Infinity, it's worth talking about. And a lot of people have already talked about the differences between the 2s and the 3s and the 4s. But as far as first impressions, like when you saw these guys talking on board the Pelican as they were headed up to the Infinity, like what did you guys think of them as Spartans, as the UNSC's elite?
Oh, I thought they were completely and utterly the opposite of how they were presented in the campaign. In the campaign, they weren't presented as mindless dude bros, but for some reason, in Spartan Ops, suddenly they were. I love that. I love changing on the overall characters like that. I love how they're completely diametrically opposed to each other as well. That's a good thing for consistency, so it is.
They yeah. Are you talking about like in the campaign where they were?
Yes, they were stoic. They were silent.
They
They
were
were
stoic.
Spartans.
Yeah.
Apart from Palmer said one thing: Chief, you had a helmet off. It was informal. But you
Well,
see
maybe
the
because they were
Spartans
in
on the job.
presence. Maybe because they were in presence of the chief.
When you see the Spartans on the job in the campaign, there's no bullshit. There's just moving over here, doing this, doing that, firing. You know what I mean? They're Spartans.
Right.
They act
Well, Keith
like
does have a
Spartans.
good point, is that it might have something to do with being in the presence of the Spartan that was lost 4 years ago. It's helped end the war.
But the thing is, they're supposed to be the best of the best. Like these are like not even ODSTs. They're better than ODSTs, or at least they're supposed to be. This doesn't make sense that they'd be frat boys, guys with less military cohesion and restraint than a drunk you'd see out in the town on Friday night.
Well, I definitely see. You make a good point about the campaign, how they were They were definitely.
Yes, they were definitely different, 100%.
Yeah.
They were like Spartans. They were exactly the way you would expect Spartans to behave.
Right.
In some ways, couldn't you say that it might have just been different fire teams because of the differences in armor?
Oh yeah, you can bullshit out plenty of excuses for it.
Right.
Go right ahead. I'm sure they would love to hear them. They'll probably use one or two of them. The point is, I don't like it.
Well, I actually do like the Spartan 4s because they are essentially different in the way that they were trained, brought in. They're not the old. They're not the kids. The kids were trained to be silent. They said it in one of the the cutscenes. Spartans were trained to shut up. Not say anything. And then, just be soldiers and do their job. But these Spartans 4s are now these are the dorm room Spartans. These guys are the cocky bastards, who, they were actually weren't at, well, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are so much better at fiction, but what I get a sense of, obviously they were not brought in as kids. Obviously, actually, definitely, right? I mean, they were.
Yeah, Thorne says that he enlisted in the army a year before New Phoenix, and then he was in the army at the events of New Phoenix, and then 6 months later, he's a Spartan 4.
Right. So this is a different type of Spartan. So fine, that's great, and you see that in the missions where they're all just they're mixing it up and they're talking so much and just saying they're talking like regular soldiers actually, like who would be on a mission. And but I'd actually but you mentioning that, like, now I think about it, yeah, in the campaign, yeah, they didn't say shit. Which I wish they did. Actually would have created an interesting dynamic for them to be smartasses to the chief. Like, yeah, you're this missing soldier, but you know what? We've been around now. We got even better technology. I don't care what you are, you old man.
Yeah, even better to see him respond to that.
Yeah, and then
it's inconsistent.
Slap him back.
That's what annoys me. It's inconsistent. It's like almost as if two completely different people wrote.
I agree with that.
The characterization for the same bunch of characters for each.
I'm gonna have to agree with that.
There is also the aspect that these are intended to be some more. I hesitate to use this word, but more memorable characters that we can get to know over the course of a season.
These characters are
take that lightly. Just in the sense that are any of the personalities of the Spartan Force from the campaign, aside from Palmer, memorable? Like, do you remember any of the individuals? And that's exactly what I'm saying, because they're supposed to be in Spartan Ops. They're the primary characters.
But the Spartan Ops personalities, excuse me when I abuse the term personality, if the Spartan Ops personalities, the reason why they're memorable in the first place is because of really bad things about them. And not like a bad thing, the characters bad things about them. No, just shit personalities. They're poorly written, with really crap, hammy-ass dialogue. So they're memorable for the wrong reasons. That's not something you should give credit to them for in this case. Oh, they're memorable.
I'm just trying to say, for the
punch in the
focus
face
in writing
is memorable. Doesn't mean I want to remember it.
Oh, that.
You get what I'm saying here? It's just they're memorable, yeah, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? I'm more of, I would definitely fall on the side of, this is definitely like what's different makes it memorable. What we're used to, we're not used to seeing that.
We could
I'm
easily
still
see
processing
them.
it, actually. I think I'm still processing it over even this first.
Okay, well, how about the frat guy with the fucking shotgun? He's like, fuck this, I'm going to attack these guys with my shotgun because I'm so big. Yeah, fuck yeah, beer. And just randomly attacks him with a shotgun in the middle of a mission and gets his ass handed to him. Like, what the hell is that?
He reminds me of the guy from Aliens when, what's his face? Hicks.
Well, in Danny's defense, Aliens was also supposed to show a military force that had less focus on character and rules and whatnot.
Right.
And the UNSC is very different than the Colonial Marines.
Right.
This is supposed to be our Spartans, our best of the best.
Yeah.
But I do like how they're specifically focusing on the differences and not just kind of shrugging them off. I don't feel like the differences.
But they're shit Spartans. That's the thing. They are shit characters.
Let me say this. I don't feel like the differences between the Spartan 2s and the Spartan 3s were really examined within the context of the games.
Not really.
Hell no.
But especially when Halsey comes on board, there's immediately all the talk about, are the Spartan 4s good enough to actually be Spartans? And I think all of us as fans probably assume that most, if not all of them, aren't. But it's cool to see Halsey actually acknowledging that and talking about that.
Yeah. I think that's more, it seems like that's where the point is going with Halsey being on board and the way she's answering their questions, or what's his face's questions. I don't forget his name. As far as, what Spartan should be. It actually gives us more. I like the delivery service of them giving us more information about what a Spartan should be. But
yeah, because a lot of the fans have kind of had their own debates about that this whole time. Like, what makes a Spartan a Spartan? There was always the which is better, the Spartan 2s or the Spartan 3s, and now some of that discussion is making its way into the fiction.
Yeah. Maybe that's what fan service they're delivering here. Maybe that's what Frank's and the gang are delivering here.
Another thing that I thought was kind of cool was that in the prologue sequence in the campaign, Halsey says that Spartans aren't just military equipment; they're the next stage of human evolution.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from that perspective, the Spartan 4 is acting and behaving more like, quote unquote, normal humans. Although that, again, that comes down to the writing. But I think the intention there is to show that they do act more like normal humans, which could be in line with Halsey's statement.
Right.
But at the same time, it's interesting that she's then saying that they're not good enough to be Spartans. So there's an interesting kind of dichotomy there.
Well, to suffice for Danny, if Spartans start to act like normal humans, then yes, most humans are shitheads, right? So this is going to be, we're all falling in line.
It sounds like you got a lot of good excuses for terrible inconsistencies, bad characters, and poorly written dialogue, which is good for you, but that's...
I've always held that within any sort of creative medium or media, if you have a poorly written or poorly executed character, the best way to remedy that situation isn't to immediately rewrite the character or oust him out of the plot, but to actually take that terrible writing and that terrible characterization and examine it from a more realistic perspective, as if all the characters in surrounding that character recognize that he also is behaving oddly. So, I don't know. I'm not saying that I anticipate that that's exactly what's going to happen. I can hope, but there are still ways to salvage the situation.
Yeah.
I don't want to salvage anything. To be honest, I really do not like what they've done with the Spartans. They aren't Spartans. They're not even fit to be ODSTs, to be honest. Going by playing through ODST and seeing how ODSTs act around each other and act on the battlefield.
Well, remember that the ODSTs also, when that game came out, the ODSTs themselves acted very different from the ODSTs we knew from the books. A lot of people were upset about that at the time as well, that they were a bit less military, a bit less formal than this highly trained Spec Ops group.
Well, the shithead from the Babysitter.
Oh yeah, well that's an anime thing. That's
I know, but that ODST, I'm sure, blows the skirts up.
I don't think he would have even been recruited because of his height, honestly.
Yeah.
There's no way they custom fit the armor like that.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of consistency, in Halo 2, there was a character with the same name who died during a Pelican crash, and I always like to think it was that guy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't know who is.
Well, Danny, what do you think about Crimson? I mean, I know it's the player. It's supposed to be the faceless character.
Crimson? Oh, by Crimson.
Yes, exactly.
Crimson?
But as far as, even...
I can tell you I'm sick of hearing Crimson.
Yeah. Well, from a writing standpoint, what else would they do? I mean,
what do you mean?
You can't give the characters names because they're supposed to be the
It's
player.
a plot device. They have to do...
I hate it, but I don't think there's any real way around that.
Right.
Well, you get some good writers, and you pay them to be creative and think of a creative way around it. There you go.
Why don't you submit a proposal, Danny? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. How to avoid saying Crimson too many times.
Well, pay me enough money, and I'll tell you.
But you're not going to get paid, so...
Exactly.
So just
you know
tell
what I'm
us.
saying here? Come on, you're talking about, well, how could they possibly solve such a difficult problem? Well, fuck it, they're paid to solve problems like that. You know what I mean? It's come on, the writers don't ham-fist it that badly. Don't excuse their the bad writing here. Well, they're only humans. They can't think of words to use. Like, come on. Of course, they can use words. They can use different words. They don't. They ham it up like they have. We have the best writers. They have Karen Travis. They have what do you call that dude? Greg Bear. They have some of the best writing talent.
Well,
in the
were there
world at their
contracts to
disposal.
cover content for the game, or just the books that they're writing?
I
They
thought
could
they
pay
had
them.
some input.
They could pay them for it, like if they aren't even, you know what I mean? They and they have a lot. I know for a fact they have a lot of in-house talent when it comes to writing. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you try to say, well, what else would they call them other than Crimson? They couldn't. Surely they couldn't call them anything else. It's
I
like,
mean, you
come
have
on.
trouble with the word?
Well,
It's
it's
just
the repetition.
It's the repetition. And
You mean
it
him keep
sounds
saying
stupid.
Crimson like through the mission?
Crimson? Yes, Crimson. Yes, Crimson. Crimson.
Did you
Over here,
see
Crimson.
the
Down
summary
there, Crimson.
of what was it, episode 1?
I don't think it was episode 1. I think it was the first few episodes. It was Halo Council. I think was the Halo Council? The piss take just re-edited the
hang
first
on.
couple of
Let me
episodes.
pull that up so you can drop that in the window if you want.
Yeah, since people are listening to us live, whatever, just that'd be handy for them to see. But we'll put that up in our show notes.
Well, I'm saying for Keith, if he wants to do anything right now, I'll pull that up.
What, the a link?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a piss take video just to highlight how ridiculous the repetition of the word Crimson gets and button presses.
Shoot it. Yep.
Let me just find it here.
The
This is one of the things that's different because you do all your shows live, don't you?
yes.
So we can stop and go on tangents and no one will ever know because it's
Right.
edited. But
Well, I have a dead air thing that I have to fill sometimes, but it's okay. That's quite all right. Right now, that's fine. That's actually that doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah,
I used to have to worry about that. I don't worry about that anymore because it's
kind of funny.
if you're with us, you're with us. If you're not, but we're talking. It's okay.
I'm sitting here wondering how much of my ranting is going to make it into the final edit. Because you can tell I'm being a wee bit harsh here. Being really fucking harsh.
Well, it's going to make it mine. I don't know.
Yeah, yours is, fuck's sake.
Mine's marked explicit.
oh, where did I thought it was on HBO. I know they had it on the front page.
Is it a audio?
It's a
on.
YouTube video.
Of all the times I mentioned Crimson.
Yeah, it's basically anytime that someone says
Take a shot
Crimson
every time.
or
Take a shot every
yeah,
time.
or anytime you push a button.
Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that. That would have been something I would have loved to save. Shit. How do you look that up?
I just looked it up the other day, and now I'm using a different search criteria apparently.
It was posted at HBO.
Oh, that was okay. I can find it here.
Yeah, this is. You know what, guys? Now'd be a good time to mention while I have some dead air. That's what and the other format of the show I'm going to be doing is called the Sandbox, the Riot Sandbox, and we'll do video and like we'll put this stuff up and we'll discuss open discussion of anything. That's when like it's more of a live just show and we can talk about anything.
That could I can see that going on for a really long time.
I know. I am going to have actually a big timer in front of my screen here on something like that because I actually, that's what happens with the live shows. You lose track of time so quickly.
So there's the link.
All right, let's go.
Post that up for people.
Here we go. Let's see. Put it in 2 places. And okay. Interesting. Okay. Just all right. Now let's put this. Let's put this in the. All right. I have to reconfigure my screens. Hold on. Oop. Hold on. Boop, 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 boop. Got to rearrange. Okay. Here we go. I'll play. I mean, obviously, this will be mostly audio based, but we'll have some video for just us watching. But there will be a delay. Actually, I'm not broadcasting from my microphone into this audio into you guys, so you can watch it on either watch on the thing or on your on my viewer or just. If anything, actually, there's a way. Actually, I figured out how we can watch YouTube videos in sync at the same time, without having the audio all recorded at the same time. But we won't do that now. But I will play this audio. Let me see if I'm capturing it. Hold on. Am I capturing? Nope. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to capture audio for that, but we'll also play it. Video, go.
Spartan Ops with clicked, and we noticed that sometimes it could get a little repetitive.
Spartan Miller to fire teams Castle, Majestic, Domino, Ivy, and Crimson. Crimson? Crimson. 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 Nice, Crimson. Crimson's Crimson is Crimson. 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 Crimson's Crimson. 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 Crimson's Crimson. Crimson. Crimson, 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 crimson is crimson, 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 move it, crimson, 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 crimson. Come on home.
Yep, there it is.
I don't know if that's fair.
No, I think it's entirely fair because it's not exactly like that when you're playing the game, but it does get very redundant if you're if you pay attention to it.
I definitely you definitely notice it. But I wonder, you just do any game, will you have, you could do the repetitive thing, but yes, it is. You definitely notice it more with that, and I guess more because of the objective basis of that. I guess. I mean, do we have a kind of a reason why that repetitive? I know, I mean, we're constantly being talked to over the airwave.
Yeah, and they need to refer to the player or the players without saying, without destroying the illusion that it is actually the player as their own Spartan.
That was entertaining.
See, I was, I guess going back to when I played at PAX, the thing that disappointed me was that it was basically like firefight that would move occasionally when you press a button, and I noticed even then that there was a lot of button pressing.
Right.
And now when you watch that video, it's like the button pressing is the relief from the redundant dialogue.
Right. Like we wouldn't notice.
Anyways.
Interesting.
Where were we?
Crimson.
I guess we had just finished up talking about the Spartans then. Well, actually, there's one thing I want to talk about. the Spartans, when they're out of their armor, have I don't know if there's like anything really worth talking about here, but I find it interesting that they've got this kind of like undersuit sort of thing that seems to have all these attachments. I remember they talked about in the design of Chief's armor that they added specific ports and stuff for attachments that they might add on in future games,
Right.
so they could keep it consistent. And I almost feel like some of those ports are exactly the same as what the Spartans have on their undersuit before they're, before they step into the Mjolnir assembly system, whatever you call that.
The Iron Man setup.
Yeah, exactly. But they've got these like wetsuit looking things with all these cool technical parts on them, and like I kind of wonder.
Definitely.
I don't think that's what they actually wear under their armor, but what, like, if it's not, what would be the point of that?
Well, I got the impression that's what they do wear.
Let me actually pull up a image here so I can compare them side by side.
It seems like that's how it like locks on to certain areas of their, when they put the armor on, it locks into that. That's not the gel. What's that? What do they call that? The
gel layer would be underneath that suit.
That's underneath that, right.
No, because actually, if you look at them stepping into the armor base, they've got a different suit on.
Oh.
So
do they?
It is different.
Maybe that's what they just worked out in. Maybe that's their Under Armour.
The undersuit has like the hexagon pattern on it, and it's got some more enhanced musculature, and this one's just like a straight up.
I didn't notice that there was a
Wetsuit
difference.
looking
I
thing.
thought it was the same thing.
I did for a while too, but I guess not. It looks like it's built for a specific function because it's got the thumb is covered in a partial glove, but all the rest of the fingers are open, so it's supposed to be an operational suit, obviously, but
I try to notice things, but wow, you're good. I really didn't notice that. I didn't really even notice, how that, you look at the back with the spine and you see like, it looks like latches, kind of things that move and glide.
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
well, that's
I
even
think I just glossed over. It's like, that's definitely got to be the way the armor attaches and all that stuff. I didn't even think to look.
But then Lasky has a similar thing running up his spine as well.
I don't know, man. Oh, the artists are going crazy designing uniforms.
I really like Dead Space.
Yeah, it really does. It's like the what's it called?
Right.
What do they call it in that? The indicator, your health indicator.
Yeah.
And Dead Space.
Yeah, it's got a name. I should know this. I love Dead Space. Every single time we record a podcast, there's always like one or two things that I'm just ashamed I can't remember.
Tell me about it. Join a club. I like the Dead Space whole. The HUD is your uniform.
Yeah, well, actually, speaking of that, in Dead Space, it's got that little flap, that little hinge-looking thing on the front of the suit, and that's what projects the hologram that is your HUD.
Yeah.
Some of the Spartan 4's armors have a similar little thing on the front. And
yeah.
I've been wondering the whole time, like, what's the point of that? Is it like a call out to Dead Space? Does that serve some sort of function? I mean,
or just cool looking.
Well, it doesn't make any sense because I feel like it'd only get in the way in combat, so there's got to be a specific function. Maybe they do have Dead Space style HUD. Just don't use it, I guess. I don't know.
It's, you know what it is? It's a YouTube video. They can watch YouTube videos with the thing. It pops up.
They got it on their chest. Yeah. They can get it on their arm.
Yeah.
And in their visor. So yeah, 3 different sources if you get bored.
Yeah, because it's so boring.
It's not for watching YouTube. It's for watching Waypoint. Mm.
Oh.
That's where they get all the entertainment in the Halo universe on a Waypoint.
Hey guys, this is the FUD podcast. It's a very serious podcast. Where you guys going? You going off the rails?
This is where we edit stuff so it doesn't sound as bad.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This is how it always is.
This is the podcast that talked about space mops and and sites are mumbling, going crazy in the hallways.
So, Crimson grabs an artifact from the planet.
Well done, Crimson. Evac for Crimson.
We still don't even know what the artifact is.
You know what's really, really sad?
Not yet.
I was lamenting the poor state of the dialogue, particularly Palmer's dialogue, and I said to myself, like jokingly, you know, next week I bet you she's going to turn around and offer the team brewskis, beer or something like that for doing a good job. And you know what she fucking did? It tore my heart. The next week, she offered them cool, refreshing beer at the end of the mission.
Yeah, when she said that, I was thinking, like, there's got to be some dietary thing going on with the Spartans, like making it where they can't have as much alcohol from the enhancements or, you know, something.
Like, I was taking the piss and set my head. I was like, come on, yeah, brewskis. You know, that was how badly trashy the dialogue was going. I was like, yeah, she'd be offering brewskis to them and everything, and then she did. As soon as that happened, I lost whatever little faith I had in the writing, and the story was just flushed down the loo at that point. I hate to say it, I really had high hopes for it. But whenever I can take the piss and laugh, and then it happens, that's scary to me, you know? That's not what I want from anything. If I can just take the piss and joke around, then it actually happens.
Understandable. I mean, I'm the sort of fan who always looks for an excuse, fictionally speaking, for anything. Because I want it all to make sense. I don't just get upset and be like, oh, well, that was dumb and I can overlook it. I mean, I always try to find ways that it makes sense. But
you're fighting a losing battle sometimes, and you really do know when you're fighting a losing battle.
Sometimes, and it's good to know when that is.
Like I said, just for me, that was my bailout point, because I actually can't take it seriously. That's the thing when it comes to my enjoyment of something. I have to really take it seriously. And the majority of Halo's fiction, I'm happy to take seriously. There's good firm basis for a lot of it. It's enjoyable, you know what I mean? Right. And Spartan Ops is like, no. At that point, I couldn't go back. I couldn't actually have respect for the integrity of the story whenever my bad jokes happen in the actual show. You know, it's like, come on.
Maybe
it's only a
was
matter of time.
Intentionally being sarcastic because she knew that Spartans weren't able to have alcohol, or I don't know.
Ever hear her face jumping shark? That's riding the shark in the tidal wave of bad over the rest of the game. Just no way. Don't even try that one.
I will say that from the first episode when they introduced Roland, I was really excited to have him expanded as a character. I was like, all right, this guy's. I mean, I don't know exactly again, so don't blame me if I get this wrong. But he's decked out like a World War II bomber pilot, as far as I know, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Whether I'm right about that or not,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good because we've got this whole story about how the AIs choose their appearance, and to me, that I don't know, like that right there, just his appearance alone makes him like one of the coolest AIs. And I expected that to be reflected in his character, and then when he jumps into Spartan Ops and starts talking to us, suddenly that whole World War II fighter, bomber, pilot, whatever aspect is just completely dropped in favor of Wheatley from Portal 2. And like I felt like it really kind of destroyed a lot of what I liked about that character. And don't get me wrong, like I thought those moments with Roland were funny, but they just didn't feel like the character I was expecting him to be.
Right.
Well, you're actually expecting consistency, and you're shocked and disappointed that that's not what you're getting.
Consistency is something we can't rely on. I don't think when a fiction gets this big.
This is
Well,
Spartan Ops. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny portion of the big thing. It's one thing. It's a one project.
And it's supposed to be
I'm
self-contained.
sorry. I expect consistency in one tiny
Right.
project.
Yeah. I know. I know.
Because I really do hold Halo to a high standard, and if it lets me down, I'm more than happy to say and point out where it is letting me down, because I do hold it to such a high standard, especially the fiction. When you have the pedigree of Greg Bear and Karen Travis working on it, and I know Karen Travis has split the fan base in terms of what they think of her, but I do hold her in high esteem as an author. Particularly with Greg Bear as well. So when it comes to Halo's overall fiction, that's the bar. You know what I mean? That is the very, very high bar.
Do we know who the writers for Spartan Ops are?
I could guess.
I think it's.
I think Brian Reed, one of the guys who are writing the campaigns, definitely writing some of the. And
David Ellis, I think, has got a portion in that.
Well, he's doing the mission design.
Yeah, he was writing the dialogue.
He's doing mission design, but isn't our boys Co-Cop and no, they were doing campaign, I think.
I know what
Co-Cop's doing.
Vok did some
design.
campaign work. I don't think he worked on Spartan Ops at all.
Spartan Ops.
No, not at all. No.
They got a cross reference though. It's still. But they still got to be in there.
Yeah, but to what degree? That's kind of the question.
I don't know. But they got to. Fiction-wise,
I think Spartan Ops has been handled separately in terms of the actual cutscenes and the missions and how they've been designed. I think they're two different things. I think you'll find the writers for the missions and the writers for the cutscenes are different.
That's a problem. That's what I'm saying. Like they've got to be talking more. Like when you write.
Well, it's a relatively small team, so all things considered, everyone should be talking to everyone else wherever.
It is a small.
It is a small
team. Right.
So.
Okay.
I don't know. I would like more of an insight into the whole design process of Spartan Ops myself. Just to see kind of how they approach it within the studio.
Yeah. Well, it's a new type of format within gaming. I think the way they're doing it in this kind of title too, in a big title like this. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a newer kind of approach to gaming.
Yeah.
Being explored through a typical AAA game title.
Right. Well, it's as far as the content and how much is being done with it. No one. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not. Like I said, I don't do as much and research as much, but I gotta believe that this has not been done on in any other big title like this before. Yeah, we get big content with DLC, extra campaigns tacked on and stuff like that, but as far as an episodic thing like this,
I think we're beginning to see why it hasn't.
Danny, if you're talking, it's really quiet on my end.
I'm quiet for me too.
Sorry, I was saying I think we're beginning to see why it hasn't.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think the idea of Spartan Ops, the idea of weekly content, is awesome. Like, frankly, I would love for more of the franchises that I enjoy to do this sort of thing. And
it's like comic book.
I honestly hope that more games do this in the future. It's, I'm going to school for game design, and I think it's something that I would enjoy creating for people as well. So I've put some thought into like some of the experiences that I'm working on. Like, they seem like things that I would want to do as a weekly thing, because from a narrative design standpoint, you can take that so many places, and it can change on the dime if it needs to. So I don't know. I think it has potential, and I think Spartan Ops is one of the first real approaches, one of the first real attempts at doing this, and it's gonna be trial and error. It's gonna be a learning experience for everyone.
But that's it. It's essentially it's a task that when I first heard about it, and as far as how much content that's going to be like, as a studio, how are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah, I think the difference would be if you're focusing specifically on making this experience and nothing else, then it would work out. But because yeah,
it's a big undertaking, and that's why obviously we have a hiatus. You can't. There's just no way.
Actually,
there's just no way.
It's planned long in advance. It's just to give the content breathing space between Christmas, and that's all. It's none.
Well, yeah. You can't have this every week. A new campaign every month. Maybe they could have done it that way.
Well, this is not really up to campaign quality. It's not
it's
campaign quality anything every week.
I think it has the potential to get there, though. I really do.
It does.
I think it needs a lot of focus and a lot of fine tuning, but
I don't have a problem with. See, the whole thing is like you're playing on the same map, you're doing the same like area or something like that. But I actually don't have a problem with that as long as you get creative with it.
I think the problem is that you can only get so creative with it. Like, no matter how you decorate that set, we're always going to know it's the same area. I think it's better to acknowledge that within the story and build the story around that limitation than to kind of shrug it off and pretend it's not there. Because one keeps the player immersed in the experience, and the other, like for me at least, and I think it's the same for a lot of other people, it immediately pulls you out when you're supposed to just pretend that it's a new location. So some of the later episodes actually did that. They say, oh, we're back at the jungle location that Crimson secured earlier, which to me that was perfect. That's what it should have been the whole way through this season, but it wasn't.
Oh, it's just it's a shame. There's just only so much.
Again, some consistency would go down a lot.
Right.
Would go down very well, you know what I mean, in this sort of thing. There just isn't right now. Well, better with it, maybe. But
well, there's definitely consistency in Halo in general, as far as reusing environments, except for Reach. But except for Reach in the campaign. Reach, obviously, then they use the maps for the multiplayer. But as far as backtracking, reusing environments, going back and forth, that's something we, as Halo players, we should be used to.
Yeah, but it's always explained in the story. So I would just prefer that I would rather have a redundant story with some kind of ham-fisted excuses to take us back to the same location than not having it explained at all. That's
even crack a joke when we're doing it too.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're back here again.
Everybody loves meta humor.
I love it.
Along the same lines, what do you guys think about the infinite lives thing? Because when I first started playing, that is the very first thing that took me out of the experience was the fact that, Crimson Team died. I guess the mission is over. They just rematerialize. And then there's all this stuff with Majestic Team and the competition that they had to secure the bases faster. Well, of course Crimson secured the bases faster. They could magically respawn.
Right.
Even if they just did something really simple, like every
time...
Do
we want to move into the gameplay mechanics aspect and discussion about this stuff?
I think it's kind of, we're heading there anyway. So, but I think even if they had just done a simple thing like maybe the first time you die on a mission, or like every so often when you die, have Palmer say something like, I don't even care if it's really stupid, just as long as it's acknowledged. Say something like, get a medic down there, or Crimson needs help, or something like that. Something that tells us that that is actually like happening in the universe, and it's not something that we're just supposed to shrug off.
Right.
Well, how about stop making excuses for a really shit gameplay element? How's that?
Well, the problem
Because
is
no
they're
one,
trying
no
to
one
replace
likes it. Seriously,
Firefight.
no one likes the infinite lives in Spartan Ops unless you're a completely talentless, skillless gamer and like, happy fun times.
Well, the thing is, they're
And
trying
press
to
X to
replace
continue.
Firefight, and they're trying to cater to all
Well, it's
players.
Firefight.
And
Right.
some people who play Firefight play with infinite lives, and they just kind of go through the waves. So I would prefer to have limited lives or only one life per mission.
I would play limited lives because it is more immersion. Yes,
And then
it's more.
the-
Go ahead.
What's wrong with doing it like the campaign where you have one life? What's wrong with
because
that? What's so
supposed to be a
scary
halfway
about that?
point. It's supposed to be a halfway point between multiplayer and campaign, which is what Firefight was. So,
Right.
so
And
a
what-
lot of
what-
I think
what you
I
get
think
out
the
of it?
problem is a lot of people would get frustrated if they were trying to get through a mission and just because they died once, had to restart it or go back to. I mean, checkpoints.
That's what
if they were
checkpoints are
done
for.
frequently enough, would work really well. But then again, the missions are also really short, so.
And again,
you
some of the
balance
missions
that?
are also so badly designed, where you're surrounded by what 15 Prometheans, all one-shot weapons or something, and then you just spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, chuck grenade, die, spawn, chuck grenade, die, and about
Yeah,
5
especially on
minutes
the
of
higher
that.
difficulties. But I think the problem there is more with the spawn system than the enemy placement.
You know the problem is bad gameplay design, because you should be put in a position where you're surrounded by enemies that can one-shot you, and you can't do anything. You should not be put into that position. Name me one single area in Halo where you're thrust into a situation like that completely unprepared. You're not ever, and it just reeks of amateurish enthusiasm for just throw some more enemies into the thing. Yeah, make them all deadly enemies and be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that, with the caveat of it being the one-shot weapon. You never want that. But
Oh,
some
I want
of, some
all my
of the
enemies to have one-shot weapons. I want every enemy to have big, massive explosives or.
no, but
or
some of
something.
the engagements I thought were really interesting.
First pulsator, agitator, washer.
Sorry.
I thought some of
Go
the
ahead.
engagements were really interesting because they intentionally threw you in a little bit over your head, and so it got you immersed that much more because you had to really jump into the shoes of the Spartan and say, okay, well, what would a Spartan do in this situation? What am I going to do to make it out of this scenario in which I'm starting out over my head? The one-shot weapons. The one-shot
That's
weapons.
funny because you're getting yourself into the whole fictiony sort of, yeah, I'm a Spartan, yeah, this is me, Spartan, you're Spartan me, and all that. And when I sit and play, and I think, this is not balanced for one player. There should not be this amount of enemies on my screen. What the hell? See, that's I think that's a more rational thought, where you shouldn't be faced with it. Especially when you see the target indicator light up and it says, by the way, we've highlighted the remaining enemies, and there's 50 enemies remaining across the map, and they're all coming towards you. It's like, I don't think this has been tweaked at all for a single player experience.
Yeah.
And I can't get into the mindset where, okay, pretend I'm a Spartan and make it more enjoyable. It's like, no, the terrible gameplay element just pulled me out of it, because what the hell am I doing wasting my time fighting 50 of these bastards? It just annoys me. And it's like, why didn't they bother? Because I'm pretty sure Firefight adapted to the number of players, didn't it?
I'm not sure. Did it?
Somewhat. I think so. I think it was scaled.
I know the campaign does. So why can't
The campaign does, for sure.
Spartan Ops? Why am I punished because I want to play it by myself? I play it with other people, and that fantastically shite netcode Give me one of the worst experiences I've ever had.
Right, I
against
play
my other
solo
friends.
every single time, every
Yeah,
week.
me too. Me too. Out of just sheer, I have to because otherwise I can't play it. The netcode just doesn't hold up. And I play with
Right.
someone who's literally a stone's throw away from me in terms of ping, in terms of geography, and it's terrible. And I play with Americans, and it's even worse. I can't have a good online experience with Spartan apps.
No.
Not to mention,
No.
sometimes you'll get hooked up with people who are on their mics constantly and talking over the dialogue, which for myself, that's what I'm interested in hearing. So,
I know. Well, yeah, you want to be more immersed, actually. Yeah.
So for Spartan apps, for an online thing, I can't play it online. The netcode doesn't hold up. It doesn't support it.
It never has.
So why is it there? Why would you put a half-baked, half-working damn thing up in the first place if you know it's not going to work? Whatever happened to Halo's quality standards?
It's
The high
gotten
bar.
better. It's gotten better. If you remember ODST,
But that's Firefight. That's completely different. Remember, they spent a long time telling us that this is not Firefight. This is Spartan Ops. This is something new.
no, but it is. But that's the thing.
Yeah. No, but it's not.
Functionally,
It's
it's
not?
more or less the same.
Is
In
it?
fact, it's got more to handle than Firefight ever did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some of the insane stuff that goes on. But point is, this is the experiences were presented. This is included in the package I paid for, in the package you paid for when you bought the game. And this
Yeah.
is a really, really terrible, faulty, poor quality, half-working feature. There's no. You can pretty it up any way you want, but that's the basic facts.
Are we we're wrapping up Spartan Ops as far as our final thoughts? Because that sounds like a final thought for Spartan Ops.
Well, we still have a lot of story stuff to touch on.
Dave, whenever you're editing this, because I know you're editing this, and I know you're listening to this, and
Well,
I know you don't want to listen to this, put that shit at the end.
Exactly, that's how we
right.
do it.
Yeah.
Podcasting magic.
Yep. No magic here though. Straightforward.
Well,
I really do fear for the people listening to this sometimes, because I really do come across as this
It's not many. Don't worry
terrible,
about it.
angry person.
There's really I'm gauging very few, but
Even with our own podcast, it's like, did I really come across that badly sometimes? Am I really
No.
that down on it?
dude, no, you don't. You sound like every other angry podcaster I know. You don't sound any different. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't want to sound angry, but that's the thing. I'm not an angry person.
You're passionate. You're not angry. You're passionate.
Duh.
If you were angry, you wouldn't be on a podcast. If you were really angry, how much you to believe in what you say, but I'm saying as far you wouldn't if you didn't like it so much, you wouldn't be here. Not that you like what's you like a lot of parts of it, but yes, you're supposed to be this way.
Again,
I wouldn't have you any other way. That's what I'm talking.
To apologize to the listeners, I'm going to take a break real quick to use the restroom, and I'll be right back.
Radio.
Cool. I wouldn't have you any other way. I think your passion is my pleasure.
See, right now, it's just I'm not happy being a Halo fan right now. It's just it's not nice.
You're gonna go through.
Nice
You're gonna go through those periods.
Place to be.
But this is an interesting time.
This period. I've been here now for years and years and years. I know the cycles.
I've been there too.
I'm just saying that this is a point where I've noticed a lot of people are just saying, "Nah, that's it. No more."
I see that too, but I also see.
I'm talking about real passionate people as well. Like it's just so surprising, you know what I mean? That
I see people throwing in the towel, but then they'll be back.
no,
I don't.
I know some of the people I know who've thrown the towel in. They ain't coming back.
Not even that they. When I say that they're done with Halo. When I said that it won't be back to the new games, I'm saying they still like the old stuff. Like there's some people who will throw in the towel and say, I don't want to play any more Halo anywhere. I don't.
The thing is, the old stuff is the old stuff. You don't go back to it. You've been through it. You played it. It's in the past. You don't revisit it.
Right.
The new stuff has to be as good as the old stuff. For they keep maintaining the audience, and I don't know. Like I said, that map pack just came out for the Crimson map pack.
Yeah.
I played like a minute of it, maybe not even a minute. I think I loaded up one of the maps in Forge and ran around a bit. That's how enthused I am right now to play Halo 4. A whole new map.
That's weird because I'm back, by the way.
I got it for free over the trial or whatever marking BS excuse they have for it. So I didn't pay for the maps, but they're sitting there on my hard drive, and I can't be arsed to play them anymore.
See, I had a great experience on the the first 3 games I played. I got one on each map, and each one was a blast to play on. And I'm overall I hear a lot of people complaining about the Crimson map pack, but I enjoy it a lot.
Well, I'm not even enthused to play them. I have them sitting there, and I don't have the willingness to want to play. How terrible is that?
This is so weird because I'm usually the one who gets bored with Halo really quickly, and from a multiplayer standpoint and campaign as an extension because I get so familiar with it. But Halo 4, I found myself wanting to play more often than the other ones. Multiplayer and campaign. There's just something about the whole experience to me that it's different, and that's what that's what people are complaining about. But to me, that's what makes it more replayable. So
it's not as
I'm actually agreeing with that.
It's not as different. Everything has to change. It's just what those specific differences are and what together they add up to be.
Right.
It's just the more I think about it, the more it just grinds me down. I'm not even talking about the 1,000,001 fictional issues which they just brushed under the carpet. I'm not talking about those because they grind me down enough as it is, but just in terms of the actual mechanics of playing Halo, there's more than enough there to make me sit and think, do I want to be spending the next 2 hours fighting against this system, or do I just want to play another game right now for instant gratification, for instant fun? And more I'm like, yep, just play other games, simple play, and I'm having fun. I don't have to worry about it. And that's the thing. Halo used to always be my go-to fun game. You know, I could just switch it on, hours gone, there you go. You know what I mean? It could be by myself, could be with friends, whatever. And that's not what Halo is right now to me. And it's weird because it's the first time in about 5-6 years that's been the case.
But Keith, you're saying that for you, it's the opposite. It's more enjoyable now.
Well, because of not that it's more enjoyable, it's interesting to me because of how different it is. And I don't, you know what? I've been going through a lot of what interests me in gaming in general. For a while now, just because I like to be inspired to put my Xbox on, and I don't play that many games. You know, I play a handful, and like Halo obviously is a first-person shooter. That's, you know, if you're gonna play first-person shooters, I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play other first-person shooters. I just play Halo. If I play any other game, it's definitely specific. Gears of War, Left 4 Dead, something that's a good multiplayer experience. You know, I'm playing and some single player stuff. Mostly, I've been getting to a lot of single player things that are not even involved in multiplayer at all. BioShock, then Grand Theft Auto, that kind of stuff. Just not the multiplayer part of it, just the open world stuff. I'm getting lost in those kind of things. But then some story based games. I find myself falling away from multiplayer because because Halo 2 and all the stuff that Halo 3 played a lot of multiplayer there. Reach trickled off, but Reach was great. But I don't like. I'm not as far as all the things that are going on in multiplayer now, and all the unlockables and all the progression, all the perks and all that stuff. I do not really want to. I don't. It's not. That stuff is not driving me. So, what? That's but that's what's. But that's what the gaming is being geared towards now, and that's why I'm probably not being pulled to my Xbox. I feel like I got time to do other stuff, and then I can get to those games I want to play at any time. On my own schedule.
Mm-hmm. It's that increasing focus on the player investment system. It's
a terrible player investment system. That's the thing. It's not even.
And then maybe that's the problem.
So shallow.
It's not working for me.
Yeah, but
it's working for millions of other people.
Exactly. Though. Most people don't think about how shallow that is. They just think like, "Oh, I'm being rewarded for playing. That's cool. This makes it more enjoyable."
And it's not. And as far as an age group, it's everybody. It's not. This is not specific. But I know from me, and I don't know what it is. Like I know, there's some people who I know in the Halo community are older. That we've been around for a long time. Some specific people from HBO that are playing and some are not playing. It just I don't see a pattern anywhere to it. I just know for me that I'm not. It's not work. That's not working for me. So it's something. But the thing. But back to the point though, as far as this. Halo 4 and 343's take on it is interesting to me just because of their take on it. Just because of their twist on Halo. I'm curious on because it's definitely different. It's definitely different from Bungie. It's definitely got a different feel to it. But when you bring some familiar stuff in there, you're just like, okay, you want to see. It makes me more curious, and even the multiplayer elements are fun because they're different. I don't know necessarily if it works. I don't know if it works. I'm not sure it works. I don't know. You know what? I haven't played it that much, and I'm not that invested. But I do pop it on when I put the stuff on the screen, and I see the stuff going there. I see the menus. I see the elements, the graphics. As I pretty much I'm interested. I'm not putting it down. Am I more? I'm definitely not as into it as I used to be. But I'm still into it. Rant over, or whatever that was.
Back to Spartan.
Yes, please, please.
Hey, everyone enjoys a good rant, so don't worry about it.
We've had our fair share as well.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
So, jumping back to the plot, because I think we've had enough complaining.
Well, I've got more.
I'm sure you do, stuff. But well, anyways, what do you guys think about the whole almost subplot about like the whole Promethean soul and that there's this underlying story going on that we haven't been shown yet?
Promethean soul? What? What?
Who? What? That's you know what that is? That's metachlorians.
God no.
Wait on, the Promethean souls isn't that just the librarian AI or a copy of it or something?
No, Halsey is getting the
information
from Jewel on her datapad.
Yeah, text messaging the Covenant. My God, what the fuck were they thinking of that?
All right. But the point is, she starts making inquiries about the Prometheans and what they have to offer humanity, and that there's probably some whole point to that threat that they like. You wouldn't bring that up for no reason. And then they get the Forerunner memory unit that Jewel dropped as he was going through the portal, and it has the images from the humans that were composed on Earth, not in ancient times.
That's because they're new Prometheans, fresh off the production line, probably.
But my question is, where do you think this is all gonna go? Like, where do you?
That's what I want to ask you guys.
What's it leading up to? I've got an idea, but I wanted to hear if you guys had any thoughts on it.
Why are they making? Why is there new Prometheans? Why are they not under the librarians' control?
Because the didact is still around.
There you go. Hello.
Librarian's supposed to be dead.
No, well, her AI is still there.
Yeah, that's what they're supposedly.
Truly.
That's what Glassman's doing, is trying to activate her AI.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's. I mean, I suppose to a certain extent it is pretty obvious, but I think that's what the whole point of this whole thread is leading up to, is that the didact is still alive, and that the when his ship what was it, Mantle's Path or something like that.
But can I just point out one thing that I thought it's actually a good thing about Spartan Ops, actually, and it's I'm going to use this as a way to critique the campaign we played, actually. In Spartan Ops, we're introduced to the Didact's Hand. Okay, a fanatical group led by Joel. Why the fuck, during the campaign, were these guys not introduced? Why were the Storm faction introduced instead of these guys? These guys make complete and utter sense.
What, the faction of the...
Didact's Hand, yes.
Is that what they are?
Yes.
No, the Didact's Hand is Jewel Mdama.
They have the wee armor, and the wee symbol, and the wee cool looking thing.
He is the only one who has that armor because he's the Didact's Hand. It's like Sauron's hand from Lord of the Rings.
Saruman.
But why didn't they just call the whole faction the Didact's Hand or some shit like that?
Well, because he's the specific one who communicates with the Didact and like relays the will of the god, basically.
Because is there actually any in game reference to the Storm faction?
In Spartan Ops?
In the campaign?
In anything?
In the book, isn't there in the book?
Well, not with the name, not with the label Storm, but it's the whole founding of the Storm, basically.
Yeah, but is there an actual, literal naming of them anywhere?
I imagine it's going to come in the next book, but...
That's kind of absolutely terrible, isn't it? I mean,
Halsey has a first-generation iPad. That's what's appalling.
The iPad, like in text message Covenant, Elites, Hidden and Forerunner installations. Yeah, makes complete sense. And you have to admit, Jules' English is really well done as well. You know that his text speak lingo.
Well, he does repeat. He repeats a lot of words and stuff.
Yeah, but that's because his big fat thumbs. You know, you can't press the things right. He's getting used to it. Give him time.
I actually liked that. I thought it was kind of cool. Examination of.
You didn't think that was utterly dumb? Of all the things that could have been communicating to Halsey through this back door, it was Joel. It was I texting Covenant guy.
I was disappointed that it was just him and not a new character that was going to be introduced, but at the same time, I like how they're handling the elites and the differences between their language and English. I think I've never, it hasn't been handled really outside of the books until now, and it's like it transfers over really well, I thought.
You mean, so you're not part of the big massive backlash on HBO going, oh, it's crap sounding Japanese wannabe language and it doesn't make any sense from what we've heard before?
No, I'm just happy that they actually
Are they doing that too? Oh my god.
Well, in the terminal, it did sound like Japanese, but why does that matter? Like, that's not a big deal. It's just a few words. And...
Well, everything's borrowed from something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, there's always going to be a cross-reference somewhere.
But yeah,
Oh,
I
come
just,
on.
I'm happy that it seems like they have a fully fleshed out language for the elites now, instead of just using. I mean, I like the backwards reversed speech from Halo 1, but at the same time, it's good to know that there's that much more solid information out there that they can actually do subtitled and have it all correlate.
but that would mean consistency.
Well, I'm just saying it looks like there might
So they
be
have
some
an
consistency with this.
They have
I
an
don't think
opportunity for future consistency, and this watch has a completely ignored it.
I don't
Is
think
that
that.
word-
I really hope that they're not just winging it on the language. It doesn't sound like they are.
Ooh, you know, maybe it's got to be a thread about it in HBO somewhere.
Although
About
I'll give Spartan Ops
somebody's deciphered it.
the praise it deserves. Those cutscenes look nice.
Well, that's good. Let's just
Cutscenes
take
look
it for
nice. Yeah.
The cutscenes are awesome.
It
The facial
reminded me-
animations could use some work, but
It reminded me a
the
lot
textures.
of Halo Wars of the term in terms of this is eye candy. I can just sit back and enjoy the show.
It's very eye candy.
I just wish the theater had an option to play them all through without having to exit out and enter back in and play the next one.
Well, if we're going to go down the path of wishing, I wish we didn't have to download them off Waypoint because they were too late to stick them on the damn disc. But hey, that's
Just wait till
magical
HBO puts them
wishland.
on. HBO will have them there. Don't worry.
That's magical wishland. Okay, so don't go there.
I go for HBO for all that stuff. I don't.
Yeah, but it's nice to
I
watch
wait-
it on your TV as well.
Yeah, but then you can. There's ways around that.
Sorry for wanting my video content, my video game video content on the same format and destination as my video game. It's a weird thing they want. I know.
All right, guys, we're let's because we're pumping now.
You wanted a glimpse into the podcast recording process, and this is our process.
I know your process. I know that not different from other processes, but
We'll cut this shit down.
I just no I
Keep me in here looking angry because everyone has to make me look bad. Because I do it myself anyway, so people have to keep that up. It's important.
no. You do what you do.
Which is coughing right now.
I just know where this is going.
Going? Where's it going?
I don't know where it's going. It's going.
Did you
It's
know
going
where
south.
it's going? Generally, as well, I if I can take a position opposite to Isaac, if I can, I generally will. At least, well, and if I would take it from Isaac's probable position or point of view, I do it to piss him off because I live my entire life to do so. But in
Yeah, that's
terms,
pretty
don't come
much
across
what we
that,
assume.
but I think it makes for much more of an interesting discussion if we're not all sitting there singing from the same page all the time on all the issues.
You guys have a singular experience where from one side of the galaxy to the other side that comes together. Totally different, two different views that works.
I still
I feel like
maintain that
middle.
his
I feel like
theories
I'm in
are
the middle.
crackpots and weird. You'll never ever get me to validate your weird, crazy theorizing.
Yeah,
Sometimes
no
you
reason
do,
to
though.
put up that article that I
Absolutely,
wrote
that's
about Guilty Spark being a person. That's not true. That'll never be true.
That never happened. Never ever happened. Bastard. I give you props. You throw enough shit at the wall. Some of it's got to stick sometime, you know.
Right.
Right. Do I want to finish this up because it's getting a wee bit late?
Yeah. What else is there to cover? I mean, I want to just cover more of the story, but I suppose there isn't really all that much.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll do 90% of the story right now. Switches were pressed. There we go. There's 90% of the story.
From the pre-rendered, from the cinematics, but we've already kind of covered all of the different aspects of different story threads. I'm just not sure if there's more that we want to go into. Or...
Well, if I may, I mean, as far as the cut scenes are concerned, because obviously that's all I've really seen. As far as the quality of the cutscenes, they're awesome. The story direction they're going into, if you want to do more of a summing up, like as far as what's the artifact, what the hell is it doing, what's the soul of the Prometheans, we find out what the Prometheans are. Why do they have images of...
You know what they are? The campaign explicitly tells you exactly what they are.
Yeah, but the whole thing was, why did it have images of more recent data?
Because they're recent Prometheans?
Well, the point of that is to show that while the Didact ship was at Earth composing these people, it wasn't like waiting to send that composed information back to Requiem. It was doing it live, which I think means that when Didact fell into the thing at the bottom of the beam, that was actually the portal that was teleporting it right back to Requiem. So I think Didact's still alive and well on Requiem, or at least recovering on Requiem from the grenade blast.
We know Didact's not dead.
So he's chilling on Krypton then? Again?
Yeah.
Krypton?
Probably. I mean, he just took a grenade blast to the chest and from a Forerunner grenade, so in spite of all his advanced armor...
That exploded in a really, really different way than it normally explodes. You just fought cutscenes.
Yeah. We're essentially looking at how the librarian's still alive. I mean, as far as an AI perspective, why wouldn't the Didact be that?
Well,
what?
Yeah, that's true. There could be AI Didacts out there.
Yeah,
but
you mean the bullshit AI thing for the librarian that they made up for the campaign, which by the way was a terrible way of shoehorning that character in. And not only was it a terrible way of shoehorning that character in,
it was also butthurt because the Halo story is going in a direction he didn't want it to go in.
It's also a disgusting way of info dumping. No, what? I have no objections actually.
You said you didn't like the whole idea that the librarian was specifically steering humanity. I proposed that a while ago, and you were like, "No, that's dumb."
That is dumb.
Well, it's a lot to take in.
No, I agree with that. It was too much. Really dumb. It was too much for one cutscene. But as far as the plot thread of the librarian being responsible for a lot of the stuff that happens in the Halo games, I like that. I think it works out. You can explore some cool stuff. But
I like if they explain it.
I think if that's true, and I don't think it is true, but I think if it is true, and I will be happy if they say it's not and argue that point. But if you want to say that's true, it just piddles over everything that's happened before. Why bother even fighting? What's the point of the struggle of humanity if it's all been designed?
Bungie did the same thing with the assembly.
Hmm?
The assembly of minds.
Oh, that one little piece of fiction that was not known about and no one really knew about until it was out there. And
so
does
that mean it doesn't count?
It doesn't count. I wasted my time analysing that damn thing, and there's not going to be a single fuck that anyone gives about that in future. I love it. And don't get me wrong, I love that damn thing. I wrote as much about that as I could for Flips because I think it was very important. But it looks like they just looked at it and thought, yep, that's fucking fuck that.
You never know what's going to happen into the far future. I mean, even if it's not covered in the next 5-10 years of Halo's history, there's still a lot of interesting story to cover there for anyone who steps and takes hold of the reins in the future. So
the thing is, just like the assembly, using the librarian, the Deus Ex Machina to explain everything is not only is it bullshit, it's not needed. Because we've already had things unfold and explained to us as these have happened.
I don't think it's
as
the
we played through them, as we watched them.
because the Deus Ex Machina is specifically something that comes down to save the player, which in a way the librarian does, but at the same time, I don't think that was the purpose of that.
Are you sure? Are you sure the librarian didn't give Master Chief the luck gene or Gaius or some shit, and it's the luck gene Gaius shit that's keeping him alive the entire thing? So technically, she did.
Well, but
I
that's
think,
fine
I think
too.
the
But
point was that it's a game changer. It's going to change the course of Halo's plot going forward. Like that, there's some larger themes
that was
to
so
explore
clear.
through that.
I loved how she changed Master Chief's DNA and bollocks, and then nothing comes of that. Apart from the fact he can survive a wee light show, whatever.
I felt they started to do the Master Chief to making him like the one. As far as making him the one that was going to save, like he was, like they built him.
Master Chief is the chosen one. He's no longer lucky. He's the destined hero.
Neo.
Fuck that.
But if they explain it, it was a general design of the human race, a general, and make it that way, then I'll buy it. But if they make it just for the one person, the one Spartan, or making it in him or whatever, like he was like Jesus-like born, I'm not going to buy that again. I'm with Danny on this one. If it starts to get that way, we were left with a lot of not a lot of information on that. And they purposely cut that off right when the librarian explained, we're just going to accelerate you, blah, 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 but you're this, all this design, and all of a sudden they did it, and then all of a sudden you're fighting again. They purposely left us with very little information.
Speaking of Jesus Chief, where is our savior during these Spartan Ops missions? Is he bored now? They fuck off back home?
I want him
watch
to come
TV?
back. I think it would be really cool to have Chief make a cameo appearance in
Do you think he would give two shits about all this fighting going on, about the didact, about... You think he was like, fuck you, send me into the fight, yeah, because I have nothing else in my life, I am a machine. You know what I mean? What the fuck is he doing? He's not watching cartoons, he's not smoking, getting high. You know what I mean? He's doing nothing. And that makes no sense to the Chief. Well, he's doing something, we just don't know what the fuck he's doing, but what could be more important than this big-ass planet? All the stuff's going on?
Maybe he is doing Halo 5. Maybe Halo 5 takes place while Spartan Ops is going on.
Shoot me in the head now, please.
No, but think about that. What if it has to do with like going back to St. Ilios and reuniting with the Arbiter?
Wouldn't it be awesome if Spartan Ops ended?
That would be some sick fiction there.
If Spartan Ops ended with a Halo 5 spoiler ending or something like that, yeah. I would love that, and by love that, I mean I would refuse to buy Halo anything ever again.
Think about this. Get to the end of Spartan Ops, like the very end of Spartan Ops, when they're, they've made all the content that they're gonna make, and they're already more or less done with Halo 5.
And they pressed all the switches in the galaxy.
Exactly. But the very last thing that you see is the Arbiter coming back, and Chief is with him, and it tells
you mean the cowardly Arbiter who's been hiding in his home
listen.
for like 5 books. He's afraid of the big bad guys outside.
He comes back, Chief's with him, which is, he obviously wasn't. Chief was just now getting back to Earth at the end of Halo 4. And it tells you right away that there is a story that was going on while you were doing Spartan Ops, and there's something else to get informed about as to what was happening. Like, I think that would be a good way to lead into it.
Right. How do we even know that the Arbiter is...
I think so, too.
Where is Arbiter, actually? Because this faction sort of taken over, or appearing to have taken over the remnants of
I saw that discussion.
You don't know
I think
how
it was
large of a
somewhere.
fleet it was, like...
And last time we seen the Arbiter, he was hiding in the house like a fucking coward, begging and thanking the USC to help him with his little domestic problems with the other ones who are bigger and badder than him and they have more ships.
I think that's just because Karen Travis didn't know where else to place him.
Honestly. Oh, you're blaming the author because she wasn't given... She was told what to do with the characters, generally speaking, and she had nothing to do with the character, so you're blaming her for not doing anything with the character, even though that order will came from higher up. Don't blame the author for that.
I think 343 knew the fans wanted to see the Arbiter again, and that Karen Travis's trilogy was the place to do it. Whether it fit into Karen Travis's ideas for where the plot should go or not.
So you're trying to tell me then that they told Karen Travis, well, how about we bring Arby back? And Karen Travis was like, no, I'm a woman, I have boobs, I hate arbiters. So no. Well, come on. That's bullshit.
Keith, help me out here.
If they wanted the Arbiter in that book, she would have put the Arbiter in the book. They didn't want Arbiter in that book, therefore she didn't put the Arbiter in that book any more than his little cowardly hidey hole reference that you get.
The only help I can
Don't
offer.
blame her at all for the overall direction that 343's taken the story. Because it's far too easy to do that.
All I want to know is why is Halsey being treated so fucking harshly? Is that a word?
Well, if you've only listened to some people, it's because Karen Travis has boobs, and because she has boobs, and therefore she has mental problems with thinking, and she hates everything, and she ruins everything. Or it's because that's just generally where the story has gone. They want the Spartan Ops to be set up the way it is, with Halsey being locked up, and they give the writer a way of doing so, and she went off and did it, and everyone hates her for it.
You have a lot of information.
The thing is, no, she was indicted for her role in the abduction of the children that later became prisoners, and for...
Excuse me. I'm getting sick from you guys.
And the funny thing is, even though the whole operation was like endorsed by Oni, for some reason they turned it around and said, "Oh, you're evil for doing this," and then arrested her. And then technically they said that she died on reach or whatever, so they pretended that she was still dead and then locked her up and then forced her to basically just work as a slave. She is literally a slave because no one knows that she's officially alive. And she gets paid. She doesn't get paid to do anything.
Pretty much.
She's forced to do this labor for the UNSC. So
Yeah.
there you go. You're actually watching sci-fi slavery when you're seeing.
Well, I actually thought it was an interesting twist that I thought it was interesting storytelling to put her that way. Like, as far as her, her position in the story here, like, as she's in cuffs, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, you want to put it this way, right? Just to prove that it isn't Karen Travis that's all ham-fisted with the story and characters and whatnot. Look at what 343 have done. They've shown the elites, the monsters, the barbaric sort of lesser creatures as they are. They've shown these elites taking a human prisoner, strapping the bombs to his chest, forcing him to wear the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, we had the elite wearing that. But forget about that. Even if you didn't read the book, you're seeing a contrast between the elites taking a human prisoner and the humans taking one of their own prisoner and treating them like a slave, because both of them are slaves in both those contexts.
That is actually kind of an interesting comparison.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Right.
Right.
They're both a scientist character, but
Yeah. They're both the type of character that can't really fight back physically and defend themselves physically.
Right.
But the elites have more of a reason. You know what I mean? This is a egghead, human egghead. You know,
the eggheads.
Fix egghead, machine egghead, go do. And, well, it's the same reason why they have Halsey about as well, for frick's sake, but you know what I mean?
I also think that's tying
I
into
agree.
the theme of humanity, getting access to all this technology and then using it for the wrong reason and all that stuff about the mantle that's talked about in Greg Bear's trilogy. My theory is, of course, that humanity is the ancient evil and it's eventually going to lead to the precursors.
So what I don't understand is how come
Wrath.
we're supposed to be rooting for who you call that twat captain who's not Del Rio? Lasky, right?
Lasky.
He's supposed to be a good guy, and yet he's happy to have slave Halsey locked up in his ship. What a scumbag.
I thought he would be more passionate.
Yeah,
Or
what
not
a
passionate, but
scumbag.
more sympathetic.
So he
Especially with
endorses.
his relationship with the chief.
So he endorses slavery.
I don't know what
I think
the fuck.
he's also
that
following
confused me.
orders. I mean, he's got a
Oh,
lot.
so-
Yeah.
He's got a
So,
lot of
he,
eyes
so
on
he,
him.
he's basically like the Nazis. As long as you're ordered to commit the war crimes, it's fine.
I'm not saying
Who
it's
cares
fine.
about human
I'm not
rights?
saying it's fine. I'm
Yeah,
saying,
but what happened in the campaign? What happened in the campaign? Del Rio.
ordered him.
Yes, but
do
that was one
something.
captain.
It was all about
versus-
orders, and now he's gone, and Lasky was like, he saw what the chief did, and they're supposed to be buddies.
But my point is that was one captain, whereas this is all of Fleet Comm that he's following orders of. As first officer, it's very different to disobey the captain's orders than to disobey
now
all
he's-
of
So
humanity.
he's only selectively disobeying. Whenever he wants to impress Master Chief, it's like, oh shit, there's Master Chief. Oh fuck orders, haha. When Master
this
Chief
is what we
fuckers
need.
off, he's like, follow orders, sir. Yes.
This is
sir.
the problem. There's not enough Master Chief in this. That's why.
I'd agree with that. No, he
We
should
need more
just
Master
he should
Chief,
even
yeah.
be there in the background, like even just on the Infinity. I don't even care, like giving tactical data as they're doing their ops or something. Like,
Dude, he's only the
Yep.
greatest single-handed army
I know, I'm just
thing in existence.
as,
Okay,
as
He's
far
only-
as like not interfering with the players, Spartan. Like I don't care, just as long as he's in there somehow. that would be-
Somewhere. He
Why
could
would
be
you
in a
need? Why would you
thousand.
need Master Chief if you're fighting all these aliens? Like, well, you're hardly going to need someone who's fought them all single-handedly by himself. You wouldn't hardly need that character, would you?
Well,
Exactly.
It makes no sense. The fact is, they never even once addressed the chief. You know what I mean?
No, they don't.
It's
You're
like,
right.
well, who cares about the chief? Oh, wait until the next game. That's our hubris. This is downright insulting. The focus is on these washed-up Spartan 15s or whatever. It's like, yeah, I really care about them, yeah, because it's like the people who run the show haven't got a clue what the hell we want. I don't care about these dude bros. You know, I don't care about, he's got too excited because he's playing griffball or something. He's watching Waypoint Sports or whatever. I was like, I don't give two fucks. I mean, that's not why I sit and pay attention to the fiction.
well, I think they should be the access way to the better parts of the fiction that we do want to know about. But
they
yeah,
aren't.
they shouldn't be the focus of it.
It's like this, but they really aren't. We're finally getting to see some elite stuff, and the story actually is going somewhere that might be interesting.
Yeah.
But it's been wrapped up in so much stinking horse manure. It's you know, it's. I'm not criticizing the people who actually went and made the content for Spectator Ops. Like reusing the levels and stuff. It's not an easy thing. It's easy for us to sit there and go, shit, it's bored. Get respawning a billion times and dying. And there's 50 enemies on screen. But you can imagine it is very difficult to come up with scenarios based on the same play spaces and then getting them to work and whatever else. It's not to say that we're criticizing the work that's been put into them or the attempt at creatively reusing the same space 3 or 4 times, if you know what I mean.
Creatively?
Well, they're trying to be
They're
creative.
trying to.
You can't fault them for trying. That's something, you know what I mean?
Well, they are trying. I see the different things they're trying to do with the same space. And I don't know. I'm not a game designer. I played enough games, but I understand there's only so much you can do mechanics-wise with the engine. You know, you can only be able to do so much. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak to what else you can do with the maps, what else you can do with the story. I mean, the story, you could go anywhere. And you know what? This is one thing. Like, there's in-game engine cutscenes before each mission and end-game ones that are not bad. Obviously, they have a limit to what they can do with that, but that could set the tone. But you know, once you pop into full gameplay, there's not going to be that much different there. Unless they come up with some good story elements to make it different.
Oh, by the way, Spartan Ops Season 2 is not happening at all. No one cares. No one's going to pay for it unless they do it for free or their generosity, their whatever. You know what I mean? Unless they do it for free, it's not happening. No one's going to buy it. It's
not for sale.
although they're trying to gauge interest to see what
You mean-
it's viable.
You mean it's not for sale though?
No,
Is it?
Not season 2. Season 2, they could potentially release it for paid, for monies.
No, I thought that was.
No,
Oh, really?
they could do that. Yes.
They could. They could all of a sudden say, you know what, you want
No,
the rest.
the only thing they said was season 1 was absolutely free, and that was it.
Oh, really?
Yes, specifically season 1 was free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they said that future seasons may not
I should
be
know
free.
that.
So that means that Spartan Ops 2, which is being considered, first of all, won't happen because of the fantastic reception Spartan Ops Season 1's got. And even if it does happen, no one's going to pay for it.
Well,
But they made it. It will happen. They had. It's already probably made. What are you talking about? It's got to be. It's got to be made.
or being worked on. And
I don't know.
if-
They're
if
working on
still
TU
working on
fixes
it,
right now.
if
They're
they're
working on
still-
the first major TU for Halo 4 right now.
I don't know.
They're
I just
not
feel like
gonna
if they
not make
actually
it.
take player feedback into account, which they say they're doing, and it's, that was a big part of the process in the past, then Season 2 has the potential to be much better. But then, again, that said, people won't buy it because they got the negative impression from the first one.
If
So they'll
anything,
offer
I'd
it up for free?
expect... I'd expect maybe a refresh of the first season, at most. You know, like season 1 bonus or something like that.
I don't think so. They're gonna make it happen just because it's such a large part of their advertising campaign, and like they've emotionally invested so much into this. This new
Yeah, it's
Halo
gonna.
experience.
Yeah, it's
Nah.
gonna be complete. It's gonna be done. Maybe they'll offer it as a price. Well, they'll offer it as a price at first. Of course, they're gonna try that, but then they'll trickle it down. I would buy. I'm gonna buy just because I'm curious where the story's going, and plus I'm a freaking Halo fanatic. So, but you can't count on people like me, and us in a way, they're not that many of us.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's
There's not as many as people who will do. It's that they're not. They totally know that they can't rely on that. Especially if something like Spartan Ops. If it was multiplayer maps, a different story. Interesting.
They have heard the trailer for season 1.5. Oh, hey. They showed some alien looking thing.
Yeah, looks a lot like
So-
Flood stuff, based on the color at least. But then it's also kind of technological.
There's gonna be Flood in season 2.
Have you
No,
seen the
there's a
trailer?
big-
I think I did. Wait,
There's a big looking alien bug looking thing or whatever.
right. You know what? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Precursor, honestly.
Well, that's exactly what this needs. Precursor stuff on Requiem, which makes no sense
Wow.
at all. But I'm sure the bullshit some excuse over there.
I think they can make it work.
Oh, I really hope they don't dilute the already silly whatever. I hope you're wrong this time, but I'm not
I just
saying
don't
that,
know what else it would be. Like, it's not Covenant, it's not Forerunner.
'cause I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not even going there because I think you're right. I don't want to say it.
There's that dynamic again.
But I don't want it to be Precursor or... it just have to be something stupid like that, really. Really.
I'm just happy to see Precursor stuff in a game in any format. So
Yeah,
I was hoping they would be in the terminals, honestly.
You know what?
I was just happy actually But with Halo 4, I was actually just happy to see four runners. Or
There's like
Forerunner.
zero chance of it, but I want to see the sexually virulent prophets again.
Oh my god.
I want to see those groove daddies back.
I can't even imagine how they'd make that work.
See, therein lies the problem. That's why you're angry.
What?
Not enough sex in Halo.
I don't think
I'm fine with that, actually. Yeah.
Good.
Contact Harvest was enough.
Yeah.
Good. No, there's too much of it. This whole Cortana chief shit.
That's not even.
Well,
Okay, well, whatever.
It's an insult. Damn it. I know it's not Spartan Ops, so it's good out there. The Cortana chief loves thing is stupid. People should be ashamed of themselves for writing it. People should be even more ashamed of themselves
It's
for
not
liking it.
explicitly stated as a love thing. It's
Come the fuck on. Are you 5? Are you 5? Come on.
I think it's not that simple. It's weird because in most other franchises and most other stories, it would be like, yeah, that's a love story. But Halo is the only one where it really, like, it honestly just is not that simple.
Are you trying to tell me that the whole analogy for Cortana touching the chief's suit isn't some kind of sexual innuendo analogy metaphor at all? No, come on. You have to be like 5 to be that naive.
I'll tell you this. It looks what it is. It kind of like they really want to tease you a little bit with it, and they pull it back just at the last second.
Tease. It's
such
like
a
a girl
tease.
promise. Get inside me. Oh yeah. It's like, come the fuck on. It's dripping with it.
There's tons of innuendo in there.
And never mind the fact as well that the enhanced Cortana, where you can basically watch her labia fucking tremble as she talks. Like, that's the sort of detail I don't want in my games.
Leave it to Danny.
Oh. Well, I know this is not going to be edited out of mine. That's gold. I might just make just this on a loop. I might just put that on a loop. That's the whole show. I'm going to stop recording now.
That's Danny doing some Forward Unto Dawn PR for us.
Oh, goodness.
I have to text that.
Well, you know, well said that they made her as sexualized as they could without essentially putting a big giant naked woman there. She is photorealistically naked, but she's blue. She glows.
Do you realize how much more the world is going to become marketing? If we want to make an overall discussion. All right, save it, because we're going to do some more of this definitely for the open format podcast that I want to do.
What were we talking about? Spartan Ops?
Yeah. So, all right.
Dave's going to have a
now
lot of
you got
fun.
me all horny. Now you got me all horny.
Thanks. Dave having to listen to all this shit. He's like, he'll get to that point and go, what the fuck, Danny? This went out live. What the fuck? I'm sorry.
You weren't this good when I first interviewed you.
Well, I mean, I wasn't that good. What?
You weren't.
Fuck you.
Well, you were good, but you weren't this good. That's all. All right, take it easy. You were good. You weren't this good.
So you're trying to say I improved the bitterness?
You have improved.
Don't tell him. Don't encourage him.
No, Jesus. Jesus. No, that's a didact.
Oh, you went there.
Pushing the buttons. That's what I'm doing over here. All right, so remember, your show, guys. Go.
I think we're kind of done.
Okay.
This is where we step back and say, all right, Dave, it's all on you. Make us look good.
Yeah.
As good as possible.
Per guy.
Yeah.
Per guy.
I wonder if we're gonna lose some listeners if they hear this and hear how little we actually try while we're recording these things.
I'll do a side by side. Maybe that serves a purpose there. Like do a side by side. This is your unedited version.
Yeah, we reorder stuff too, so it wouldn't be as easy to just listen through chronologically.
Well, you put this on a DVD.
I don't think there's enough people who give two shits about our podcast
I hope not.
that would
Well,
want to listen
I
to
hope
both
nobody's
versions. Although, if there is someone who has listened to this version and listened to our edited version, thank you very much, and the check is in the post.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna end my recording, but I'm not gonna stop broadcasting. Nice guys. Weep.